hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today.
Hi guys, and it's good to see you all again because I've been resting for a bit because my voice is not brilliant. But this is a very, very important announcement for everybody that's trying to protect their own position. I was a guinea pig about four months ago in the world of switching. I've had gold money invested in gold for years, and my wife was very much anti-switching because she didn't know what was happening. So we decided we're going to give it a test, and we gave it a test. And within a very short period of time, some 3 months, we got our first switch. And we made some extra metals. And within 4 months, we've got more than 10%. In fact, we got nearly 13% growth. And I'm going to let Adam and James explain this to you. But I just wanted to share this with you because it's convinced my wife. If you do that, do anything.
Job done there, eh?
Yeah. Good to see you, Charlie, and you, Paul, as well. I guess, look, James, give us a quick disclaimer just so everyone knows that this is just information.
Yeah, because there'll be a lot of people that have maybe not seen us before, won't they? So we have to say this every time. We're not financial advisors. We never will be financial advisors. We don't believe in financial advice, so it'll never happen. We believe in education and just sharing information with as many people as possible and helping them to make their own decisions to get themselves to a better place financially. So it's not us telling them what to do. We'll never tell you what to do or advise. Okay, so that's what we're all about.
Perfect. And we're a bit stuck in yesteryear, so we like to use presentation stuff just as a visual so you can show people what's actually going on. So let me share this, and all will be revealed. Can you see that there?
Not yet. It's a come up hopefully in a minute. There we are.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep, got it.
So look, let's just talk about what switching is first of all, because some people will have never heard of it and they'll think, what is switching and how does it work? Essentially, switching is going from one metal. Let's say you buy gold. Doesn't have to be gold, it could be silver. You buy gold. At some point you switch it to silver. And at another point, you switch it back to gold. And the important thing is that at the end, when you've got the second amount of gold, is you've got more gold at the end than when you started. So for example, you buy 100 grams of gold, switch it to silver, switch it back to gold, and you've now got 110 grams of gold, to keep it very, very simple. The great thing about that is you can do that multiple times. Now you might say, well, what's the significance of that? Is when you buy and hold, the amount of metal that you buy and the amount of metal that you sell at the other end is the same quantity. The value might have gone up, and that's what we're all hoping. History shows that the value of gold and silver over time goes up, which is great, but the quantity that you've got stays the same. You might say, well, yeah, that kind of goes without saying. The idea of building wealth, protecting yourself, is that you stack as much metal as you can. But the limit is usually people's pockets, your wallet, how much money you can put towards metals. With this, the limit of your wallet is not the limiting factor of how much metal you can have. And the strap line that we use is you can have more metal, multiply your metals without putting your hand in your pocket. And we know when we say a statement like that, a lot of people say that sounds too good to be true. But we've been doing this since 2021 now, and we've done it for ourselves, which is great, good for us. But the success for us is that we tell this to other people, educate them, and that they do it for themselves. That success is far better than us just keeping it to ourselves and us doing it. So buying and holding, you have the same quantity when you buy as when you sell. Buying, switching, and then selling, you have more to sell at the other end. And we can get into the details of the kind of compound effect, because let's say you buy 100 grams of gold, you then switch it and you get 110 grams of gold. Well, now you've got more to switch next time. So now your starting point is not 100 grams, it's 110 grams. And when you switch with that, you get even more. And that's without even talking about the value going up. This is, You know, imagine if the value of gold stayed the same forever, but you just had more of it. Would you want 1 kilo at 50,000 euros a kilo, or 2 kilos at 50,000 euros a kilo? The answer is obvious. So this really protects people from sideways movements, even when the price is going down. And obviously when it's going up, we're all winning anyway. So that's kind of switching in a nutshell. Does that make sense?
It does. And the whole purpose of this show is because I've been the guinea pig for the last 4 months.
Mm.
And my wife wanted to see it happen in real time.
Yeah.
She didn't stop wanting to look at the variance every single
the gold silver ratio.
yeah, the ratio.
Yeah.
She insisted I put the ratio onto her phone as well, so
Perfect.
she could track it. And then, of course, the moment it hit the figure that we had agreed, which we did 75.85, the minute it hit that, she was like, "Whoa, we need to switch straight away. You need to," and then it dropped below, and then it went higher. And,
Yeah.
but that's micromanagement. So I spoke to Adam, said to Adam, "Will you notify them?" And he guided me through the process of what to do.
Well, look, let's go through
I think your first purchase, Charlie, the ratio was like just under 90, wasn't it? Your first purchase,
Yes, it was.
your biggest one. So from 90 to 75, that's amazing.
Yeah, good going.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul, you were saying something.
I've just got a quick question. So do we need to watch the prices all the time? Is this how it works?
Yeah, so what we do is we use something called the gold-silver ratio. And all that does is it's a combination of the price of gold and the price of silver. So it's essentially the price of gold divided by the price of silver. So what it's saying is for 1 gram of gold, how many grams of silver can you get? So when we're talking about, say, a number of 90, that means the relative price between gold and silver in that moment is for 1 gram of gold, you could get 90 grams of silver. And it makes it even easier because you don't need to look at two numbers, price of gold and price of silver. You just look at one, which compares the two. If you think about it like this, let's say you've got gold at $1,000 an ounce and you've got silver at $10 an ounce. If gold goes up to 2,000, so it doubles, and silver also doubles and goes up to $20 an ounce, the ratio between those two prices is the same because they've both gone up by the same amount relative. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So they've both increased.
They've both increased and by relatively the same amount. And this is the key. For the gold-silver ratio to move, you need the prices to the price of gold to move and the price of silver to move, but by different amounts. And as long as they move by different amounts, which is very easily obtained, then there's an opportunity. And it doesn't matter whether they move up by different amounts or one stays the same and one goes up or one stays the same and the other goes down. As long as there's a difference between the two, then there's an opportunity.
So a big enough difference, but we'll go, we can explain that anyway, but yeah.
It's also very important to, instead of leaving everything to somebody else, to get yourself involved. When I first did this, I wanted Adam and James to do everything for me, which is the world that got us into trouble, where we leave the banks to do everything for us and then they let us down. So what it does is it empowers the individual to be involved.
Yeah, totally right. And I think that is one of the key things, because we often get people saying that they want us to do it for them, or can we get the results without doing the work? Look, this is not the sexiest message, but if you want the results, then you have to do something.
It's a bit like asking somebody else to go to the gym for you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it is. The customers that have really taken hold of this and really spent some time learning it, they've got the best results. They've done. Well, you'll see soon. You'll see shortly the amazing results that some of our customers have achieved. I get excited.
What I've noticed as well, when you want to make money, you become addicted to making money, and your own research, your own experiences hold so much merit to this sort of thing.
Of course. You only have to learn the concept once.
Yeah.
Once you've learned the concept, like, you've got it. There's nothing really extra to learn. We don't look into, what's happening in the news and how will that affect this? And you just look at one number. And you know that when you buy, the number was this, and you know to switch a second number, You just wait for that number. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it. So
it takes seconds every day, Paul, just to literally go on, what's the gold silver ratio? Okay.
yeah,
You know,
and it's either
just-
your number or it's not. That's it.
Yeah.
Very binary. So yeah, like James said, the more work you put in, the more you get out of it. It's a universal law, isn't it? So
Yeah.
So look, let's go through Charlie's results now, and you'll
Yep.
see that these are actual results of what's actually happened. So Charlie, his purchases, made 3 purchases, so end of February, beginning to middle of April, and towards the beginning of May as well, all this year. So it's all been relatively recent. His switches, he was able to switch all of his metals on the same day, so towards the end of May. Sometimes if you've made several switches, you might need to switch them each purchase at a different point. Not always, but sometimes. Depends how big the move is. Again, it's something we guide you through. But Charlie was able to switch all of his purchases on one day. So the duration from all of those purchases to a switch was 13 weeks, 7 weeks, and 3 weeks. Not really that long as far as investing terms. We always talk about precious metals. You need to be doing it for 5 years plus, really. So if you can be doing a switch within this period of time, you're winning. Like this is all good news. The net result of that, if you look at the quantity of metal that Charlie had from his purchases, and you compared that with the amount of metal that he had after his switch, was an increase of 8.67%. Now that's extra metal. So Charlie could have that much metal delivered to his house and still have what he started with. It's extra free metal from seemingly nowhere. That's the reality of it. Now, notice here why we're not talking about value, because values fluctuate, and yeah, there could be a scenario that the amount of value at the very beginning before you switch and the amount of value at the end, they could be the same if metals have gone down. But we don't, if you would have just bought the metal and held and not switched, you'd be at the mercy of the price fluctuations anyway.
Just one very interesting point, Adam. I've just picked up on this since you put that up there. The duration is 13 weeks. Just so my audience know, I've made 13%, including the capital growth.
Including the growth. Well, there you go. Not a bad return per week, is it?
1% per week.
Yeah. Now, obviously, look, we have to say that values fluctuate, and next week the price might be higher, it might be lower. As soon as we start switching, and as soon as we talk to anyone about switching, we just say, look, detach yourself from the value, because otherwise you can be making more metal and the price can dip and it can go up, and you can become emotional with the price when really it's the amount of metal that is what you should be focusing on. So just so you've not got too many moving parts.
I have to mention that daily to customers. I have to mention, just remind people, not about the value, just stick to the ratio. That is it. Just keep it really simple. Just to stick to the ratio.
Jump in here and say, you follow history and time, gold always goes up.
Yeah. So that's
if you put it across a long enough history line, gold always goes up. So you can't lose, especially since you're making more gold as well.
Yeah.
Like that's quite special, because I'm coming from a crypto background. This is pretty good, because you also hold that. It's not going to zero anytime soon, is it?
No.
Well, no, not at
It'll
all.
never go to zero. It's a finite resource.
And
this is why we get so excited about it.
Yeah. I think that's the point as well, that we the fact that metals go up over time anyway, we just say, well, look, that's going to happen. There's nothing we can do about that. That's a passive element of buying metals. The active element is doing the switching, and that's where you can be involved. And we like it as well, because we're fans of crypto, but there's obviously quite big swings in volatility and things like that. And we always say, look, it's about having the right tool for the job. It's not gold or crypto. It's about what are you trying to achieve and what does that job very well. And this seems to be a nice mix because it's long term, not too volatile, but there's an active element on top if you want to be involved. So it's a bit of a sweet spot, we find anyway. So
can I just clarify something there too, Adam, when you finish that? Just remind me.
yeah, go ahead.
It's just for anybody watching this, just to be very clear, as you always say, just to clarify, Charlie, because obviously he's learned what we've taught, because the ratio was really high when he was purchasing, he saw the ratio was high, it was like 90, I think it was his first purchase. He thought, right, okay, rather than buy gold, which you would do normally, I'm buying silver. And then when the ratio come down to 75, he switched it to gold. And he's ended up with a lot more, well, 8.67% more gold than what he would have had if he just bought gold. Just to be very clear on that. For people watching this. And it's also gone up in value over that period. But again, we don't look at that. We just look at how many extra grams that you've got. So for anybody else in the world, or we don't know anyone else that does this as of now, but for anybody else who would just buy metals normally, what you buy is what you buy, like Adam said at the beginning. 100 grams is still 100 grams in 10 years' time. But here you can multiply it, and there's no limits. No limits.
Just to give you an idea on some examples of what 8.67% could look like. So if you started with 100 grams and you made 8.67%, that's 8.67 grams. The value of that last week when we did it, probably about the same now, is around 600 euros. If you start with 1,000 grams a kilo, then you look at around 6,000. And if you had 5,000, then that would be around 30,000. So we're given percentages because it's relative, isn't it? It's relative to your starting point. But still, if you can, I mean, Charlie, did you have to do a bank transfer for your switch to happen?
No.
So it was no more money out of your pocket. It wasn't asking for anything. It was a case of, here's what you've got, here's what your start point, and here's what you've got afterwards. No cost, and it's increased. So I just want to get across the real practical steps and the elements of this, that it is more metal for free, which sounds ridiculous. So let's just go through a few of our customers. We're not giving all their details or anything like that, but we're giving some real examples of customers that have switched. And we've got way more than this. I'm just giving you some, just a few, just a taste. So one customer here increased 36 grams. And again, we're giving you the value of what that is, so that, because some people might say, well, 36 grams, is that, are we talking pounds, shillings, pence? Or are we talking thousands? What does that even mean? It's around 2,500 euros worth of value. Another customer.
Sorry, mate, that lady there too, she was she really didn't understand it initially, and she was very bumpy, if you know what I mean. And she's very concerned about, storage fees and things like that we all pay every single month, don't we, as customers, and and the cost of just setting it up in the first place. But this was at the point where she'd done one full switch already. So I did the numbers with her and I showed her that the extra metal that she'd made covered all the storage fees and more.
Yeah, it blows it out the water.
And now she's made another full switch. So and this is where she is now. So do you see what I mean? It's worth the money that you pay up front. She paid more for the account that she's got, and she was really nervous about that at first. But now she's realised, right, I'm giving more, so I'm getting more.
Yeah.
And she's a lovely lady, she is, but she's a bit nervous at first, like most people. But she's got it now. She's got it. It's great to see. Sorry, anyway, go on, mate.
Yeah, go ahead. So there's another customer that did 2 switches. This was 2 separate purchases, an extra 13 grams and 19 grams. You can see the values there as well. Another one, 24 grams. And these are real people. This is not just us saying, yeah, we've switched, look how great we are. To be honest, we get more excited about seeing other people's results, because that means that all the stuff we put out there is actually having an impact, and people are taking it and using it and doing something with it. And that, I don't know, a bit sad, but we get excited about that. It's something we're passionate about. Another customer here, 42 grams, 3,000 euros. The majority of these are within a relatively short period of time, like like kind of Charlie's results, you know, within 13
Yeah.
weeks, something like that. Some of them have held metals maybe a bit longer, but they've done their switches in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And that's because the gold silver ratio moved from, let's say, around 90 to about 75 in a short period of time. And it was great for us to see and hear from customers saying, hey, I'm ready to switch. And when they all kind of start saying it together, we go, okay, everyone's on board. Like they get it now. They've seen the move and they understand now's the time to act.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the customers were within these examples have sort of kicked themselves really because they've only just started, but they've held metals for a few years, as you said.
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah,
oh, and I look, at least you've done it now. At least you've got started. You know, so it does take some time for most people because buying metals is a big jump anyway. But then switching is like, oh, it's an even bigger jump, isn't it? But once you've done it and done it again, you think, oh wow, you know, and we're here to support everyone, aren't we? So
yeah. Another customer here, 7 grams. So again, it's relative to your start point, the amount that you're making. And it's just great. Like this is free metal that these people wouldn't have had. And all it cost them was a bit of time and a bit of education, a bit of knowledge. And they are generating more metals.
Mm-hmm.
Another one here, pretty big one. 230 grams extra, 16,000 euros of value in a pretty short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the
it's only
one
half a switch. Yeah.
yeah. And then the last one that we were all kind of very amazed at, and again, very short period of time. This customer had held metals for a while and then decided, right, I'm going to get switching. And I think it was in kind of the similar time frame to Charlie,
I think
wasn't
it was
it?
like 4 months, same as Charlie, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. He bought gold initially, went to silver, and then back to gold. Job done.
Yeah.
Watch this.
That was 1.6 kilos of extra gold, 111,000 euros of value more in like 4 months, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he can have 1.6 kilos of gold delivered in his hand and still have the metal that he started with.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to give you, we've talked about this, we've talked about the theory behind it and how it all works and how you can do it. And now we're seeing this on a daily basis of people coming to us and saying, I've switched, thank you so much. Here's my results. I'm really happy. I've got more metal than I've paid for, really. Which is great. So if anyone,
if you take those figures, the figures that you're right are irrelevant because 8%, just the figure 8%, 8.5%, you haven't been able to get that out of the bank for years.
Yeah.
And you do well getting that anywhere unless you're taking risk. With this, you don't take the risk.
Yeah. Well, this is 8%, let's say 8% more metal.
Yeah.
So even if the value went down, the value can drop, but they can't take away 8 more grams of gold, can they? Like that's not going anywhere. So this is, it's very.
And that was only in 3-4 months, was it? Was it 4 months? You said, yeah. So
yeah.
Not
short period of time.
Yeah.
So look, if anyone's, I'm sure there'll be people of all different stages. So some people will have, they'll have an account, be able to switch, but haven't done it yet. There'll be some people that haven't even started that want to get involved. It doesn't matter where you are. We'll guide you through it. If these people can do it, and I'm not being insulting by saying this, but these are just normal people. I don't think they would describe themselves as sophisticated investors or anything like that. They're just like me and James. Look, if it was complicated, me and James wouldn't be doing it. You know, we're very simple. We're just gorillas with clothes on. Put it that way. And if we can make it work, then you can too. So yeah, this makes us excited.
And I spoke to one of the insiders that's on that list, and they were very, very pleased, as was I, because I always believed in it. But when I can show my wife, who's my financial director, because the money's never impressed me, the success has impressed me. But my wife looks after the pennies, and she's very good at it. And she's become a lot more involved now and wants to know what the ratio is right every day.
Yeah.
We'll see if there's another switch coming down the pipe.
And I think
because we've done a small ratio, there's more switches there available. We're halfway between the two at the moment. So we're there or thereabouts.
I think that's very true, Charlie, because when people have done their first switch, seeing is believing, isn't it? When you've seen that the amount of metal you've got has now increased, it kind of reinforces, oh yeah, you've done the right thing and it's not actually that difficult. And that's what we always say to people. Look, once you've done your first switch, you'll say, oh, was that it? Was it that easy? I mean, you can switch within 3 clicks. Log into your account, switch, and done. So, yeah.
We've had some great reviews from our customers, Adam, haven't we? And the best ones for me, the people that said, look, I found this so difficult at first. I was terrified of it. And now they're like, I've got it. I've got it.
It's a bit like driving a car, James. The first time you get behind a wheel of a car, it's terrifying. You don't know the clutch from the brake, from the pedal, and then suddenly it's all second nature.
That's it. I'm interested, Paul. This is probably like the first time you've had a bit more of an in-depth look at this. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm someone, buy it, hold it, and I'm done. That's sort of it. But then likewise, I'm watching the price every day. Oh my God, it's gone down by this. It's done this. But to be able to increase your physical metal, I don't think I'd be as hooked on prices as I would be.
Exactly.
Because, you know, long term, it all goes up.
I
have got some questions though.
Go
Is
ahead,
there a limit on how much you can make?
No, there's no limit. There's no limit. I mean, when you're switching, you might have picked up, there's kind of, you're picking 2 points. One to switch, say, from gold to silver, and one to switch from silver to gold. The further away them points are, the more you're going to make per switch, but you've got to wait longer for them to get to those points, if that makes sense. But there's no limit on how many times you can switch. You can switch as many times as you want. Zero limitation.
Okay. The other thing, can all bullion dealers do this?
We've not seen any other bullion dealers do it than the guys
that we know of.
Work with. Not to say that we've not seen every bullion dealer, but the ones we have seen, and we look at quite a few, they don't do it in the same way. You'll be able to sell your gold to them and buy silver from them, but you're selling one and you're buying the other, in which case you're going to pay the premium every time you do that, which it makes it really inefficient. And we would say be really careful of that. The other thing is, in a lot of countries, silver has VAT on it, which means, I mean, the UK, that's 20%. You've got to get over that 20% with your switching. So it all just gets a bit complicated. The way we do it, it's a straight switch. There's a tiny fee, which is covered within the switch. You don't even notice it really. And there's no VAT on the silver. So there's a few boxes that need to be ticked. And the guys that we do it with have got it down. You know, they've got all that stuff really down. So we're not saying it's not possible with anyone else, but it's not with ones we've seen. Just tread carefully and you know, do your research.
My wife keeps it very simple. How much did I put in and how much can I take out?
Yes. And that's what we always look at. We always say, look,
That's what really matters.
Look at the number at the beginning, the number at the end. If the number at the end is bigger than the number at the beginning, you're winning.
In our case, it's more than 10% in 3 months.
There you go.
We could
and if anybody makes a purchase today, also we've got a summer bonus on that, Adam, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a promotion. Obviously, today as we're recording this, there's a promotion up to the 14th of July where people can get free metals just for making a purchase. Different percentages each day. Today is the 2% day, so you get 2% more metal for a purchase today. So why not?
Anybody who knows anything about gold, getting 2% on gold is a phenomenal percentage.
Yeah, and that's
phenomenal because there's not much margin in gold. So basically they're giving away their commission in total, because you rarely ever get more than 2% as a commission in gold for any transaction.
And that's on top of switching as well.
Yeah, that's a very
deal.
So I'm just going to talk because I've never done this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where do I start? Do I just go on your website, or do I need to phone somebody, or how do I start?
Yeah, so practically then you can go to our website, fill in your details, and we send you all the information. We send you all the links that you would need to open an account. What we realized over time is there's only so many questions that can be asked about buying gold and silver.
Yeah.
And because we're customers, first and foremost, we've been buying metals for 10 years, something like that now. Every question that anyone has asked or wants to ask, we've asked already, and we've asked it multiple times. So what we do is we answer all of your questions before you ask them. So you send us your details, as in, you know, email address, phone number, things like that. We'll send you all the information in video form. We'll even show you a tour of the account before you even open it and say, look, this is what you can do. This is what it looks like. This is how you do it. And then we'll guide you through opening the account. And then you're good to go. You can simply buy straight away. Think of it, it's not a bank account, but it's like having a gold savings account, gold and silver savings account. It's kind of that easy. We're available for support, email support, phone support. We also send you, as soon as your account's open, a list of loads of small videos saying, here's how you buy, here's how you sell, here's how you switch, here's how you transfer, because we know what people are going to ask already. And we've put that in video format, bite-sized chunks, so that you can digest it as and when it comes up along your journey.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. Because now you've actually really piqued my interest. So
Great.
I am definitely going to be having a look at that. Because, like I say, buying and holding, that's it. Once you've done it, that's it. It just sits there.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't like watching the price every day. I prefer to actually make my gold make more gold.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
and
makes sense.
That's the whole point, isn't it, of investing, the multiplication element. And we actually like as well the fact that gold and silver typically is very passive. You just buy and hold, and that's it. And you're not really engaged with your investment. Whereas with this, you actually engage with it, and you want to be involved, and it's an active element, and that suits people. They've not got to be up all night watching a computer screen, you know, ready to click the button or anything like that. It's the prices don't move that quickly. So, you know, checking the ratio, it's either your ratio or it's not. And when it is, you know, maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's longer than that. But when the time comes to switch, it's a predefined profit. You've already done the maths. You already know how much you're going to make, and you're just ready to click. And that's it, all done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Is there a minimum to get started with?
No, there's no minimum. You can actually buy down to the cent, down to the euro cent. So this is just to go off slightly. The way that you buy metals with this company is it's called fractional ownership. So you own part of a larger bar. These big bars that we've got behind us and you've got on your screen, which means you've got total flexibility. Think of it like owning an apartment within an apartment block. You don't own the whole building, but you legally own your part. And that's the way with this. So you have full legal title, but you can buy and sell down to the cent. So you don't have to say, right, well, I've got a 10 gram here and a 1 gram here and a 100 gram here. How much silver can I get for that? And it gets complicated. You just say, look, down to the cent, this is what I've got. Down to the cent, what can I get? And it's a really smooth exchange. Like I say, these guys have thought about everything.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, because I remember sitting there once going, right, I'm saving up to buy a coin, for argument's sake. I'm sitting there. Oh no, 2-3 weeks have gone by and gold's gone up by a chunk. And I'm sitting there going, now I can't buy gold.
Exactly.
And I've lost that chance to make money on my gold.
Good point.
So that is actually really, really interesting.
Yeah. So no set denominations. But if you want metals delivered, you can have them delivered in any denomination. Because all they do is they say, look, you might have 5 grams in this bar and 5 grams in this bar, and you want 10 grams delivered. No problem. They just reduce your allocation, your ownership of those 2 bars to 0, and send you the 10 gram bar. So you've got all the upside without any of the downside of having the different bars in the denominations that you want. So it's open-ended at that end.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very clever.
I think you've answered every question I've got there, Adam. Thank you.
Great.
And you,
well,
James.
look, I'm sure you'll have more because everybody does. But we're here if you want any any questions answered. And for anyone else watching, just we don't bite. Just ask us questions, and we can help you. It's what we do every day.
And you'll find everything.
You need to watch that video. Yeah.
You'll find everything.
There's a video on there, Charlie. There's a video on there when they go onto our website, and it explains the switching. They're better off watching that first if this is brand new to them.
Yeah,
Exactly. Everything's there for you to see. Goldbusters.co.uk.
yeah, perfect.
And thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us and keeping us informed. It's important that knowledge is power right now, and the truth is very, very important. This is why I offered myself as a guinea pig, so we can establish the truth as to what really happened. We now know.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Perfect. Yeah,
Hey,
thanks
no
so
problem
much.
at all, Charlie. Lads.
Good to chat.
Thanks.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you,
taking
Paul
the
and
time,
Charlie.
guys.
Yeah, no
Hey,
worries.
no problem at all. You take care.
Cheers.
See you now.